Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Between the Ropes TV. And of course, we've got a big fight coming up this weekend, but we're going to have a bit of a chat about, as well as just chatting about Mr. Daniel Dubois himself. I'm sure Frank Warren's also going to pop up. I'm smiling already because I'm waiting for a Josh rant about him. But guys, before we jump into this preview, as always, do us a favour, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well for more boxing content. We're going to be bringing you a lot of previews, a lot of reactions, and starting to bring live reactions as well. So a new dynamic to the channel. But let's jump in and start talking about this fight because, Josh, it's an interesting fight, isn't it, to put it one way? I mean, it's been, let's firstly just sell it as the fact it's being called a world title fight. I mean, there's already 4 world championships. Like, what is this? I mean, what is this? It makes no sense to me. Like, how many belts do you want to hand out left, right, and centre?
It's just shocking. It's not a world title fight, is it? The WBA have their regular title, and
what does that mean?
Well, exactly. That's the thing. You've got this heavyweight shit show going on the weekend. That let's be fair. Daniel Dubois, 24 years old. He's been out of the ring for 10 months waiting for this fight. And it's just a joke. I mean, you've also then got with the WBA, the whole thing's shocking from start to finish. You've got Lee Wood down at featherweight who, beat one of the best featherweights in the division, and he's still only the regular champion because, well, for politics. The whole thing's just shocking on the belts. I mean, that's a separate video. It's disgraceful. But as for this fight, I just don't get it. I mean, Dubois, he's waited. So since November 2020, when he got stopped by Joe Joyce's jab, he's had 3 rounds of professional action against Bogdan Dinu, Joe Cusimano, an American taxi driver, and that's apparently, after a loss, that's enough to earn him a world title fight. I mean, it's just shocking. I did a tweet about it, and our followers agree with me, everyone who's seen it, because I think it was overwhelmingly, yes, it's too soon. Dubois beaten nobody. I mean, realistically, his biggest win is Nathan Gorman for the vacant British title.
I mean, Josh, we obviously see the fact as well. He's going out to America a bit. I believe this is his 2nd fight in a row, isn't it? Where he's actually now fighting America. Is this Frank Warren trying something new? Because obviously we know his stock's very low in the UK after his defeat to obviously Joyce. Is this him trying something different? Let's see if we can build him up in America. Because to be fair, you have to say, physically, he's everything that the Americans like, isn't he? He's large in stature. He's got that body build look to him. You could see him you could see the Americans warming towards him, eventually. Is this a weird tactic by Frank Warren? Is this a good tactic? I mean, what is really going on? Because for me, he's been managed awfully, a bit like Joe Joyce as well.
Well, I'd agree. It went wrong. Obviously, Frank Warren made the Joyce and Dubois fight. Let's be honest, we all know Dubois was supposed to win that fight. He was Frank Warren's little poster boy. That's obviously gone wrong. And then he said, right, as you say, let's go and build him in the States because, let's be honest, the Americans love to get behind someone who's body beautiful, gets knockouts, but doesn't really fight anyone. Look at Deontay Wilder. They love it, don't they? So...
I shouldn't have allowed you to walk into that. I mean, you best be careful because you might end up on Wilder's new song. He might be sending direct shots at you.
It's all right. It'll be a one-hit wonder like his boxing career, so I'm not worried about it. And but with Dubois, sending him to America is an interesting tactic. The one school of thought is that he's not being backed in the UK now. A lot of UK fans, we're not the minority who think he's in serious danger of becoming a hype job. But if you're going to send him to America, he's got to fight known people. I mean, Joe Cusimano, who, it was another fight. It was on the Jake Paul undercard, which, while Jake Paul, he brings the eyes to the sport. For me, if you're a serious contender, you shouldn't be fighting on YouTube as undercards.
Not on an undercard, but you could argue it gives that American audience, doesn't it? But I feel it's the wrong kind of audience. Like, you're not going to get the true boxing fans watching that. But again, maybe it's a bit about building the brand itself. But interesting, Frank Warren's actually come out and said that he's warning Dubois about this fight, saying it's a dangerous fight. Is that him hyping him up, or what is that?
No, I think that's him. He's trying to sell the fight. He's trying to get some conversation on it because, let's be honest, the promotion behind it's been poor.
I think there's only us talking about it.
I was going to say, I mean, I was a bit like, should we do a preview? I suppose we should. But, we'll look at Trevor Bryan in the interest of balance. He's 32 years old. He's 22-0 with 15 stoppages. So at face value, you think, oh, quite decent. You look into his record.
That's it.
He's beat Bermain Stavern, who was once a pretty decent heavyweight, but has since then been beaten by every man and his dog. And, he's also beaten BJ Flores. A few people may know that name. Obviously, also Tony Bellew stopped him. But he's been really inactive himself. This is his 5th fight in 5 years. So, one, how he qualifies to be so highly ranked by the WBA to get this regular shot, who knows? It's just a bizarre setting. I mean, Don King promotes him. Don King's promoting this fight. He won the purse bids with a bid of just over $3.1 million. Frank Warren's bid, and this is where you get your Frank Warren ranked, Scott. Frank Warren put in a bid of just over $2.5 million. Now, firstly,
is that just me thinking that sounds a lot still, though?
Well, it's heavyweight boxing. I suppose they'd argue it's a world title fight, sort of. I don't know. I'm not in the boxing business, so
I know what you're saying. Frank Warren coming in a nice 600K off the mark.
Well, exactly, he's miles apart. And my favourite thing is if you watch Frank Warren on any interview platform, he's there. Oh, I back my fighters. We always back our fighters. No, you've backed Tyson Fury with the help of Top Rank, and it's a pretty dead cert, isn't it? So you won that purse bid, fair play. You then, I suppose, he did back Zach Parker with fighting Demetrius Andrade. It's not his fault it fell through. But since Dubois lost to Joyce, there's been no backing of him, none whatsoever. It's almost like, go to America, let's see if he can maneuver himself into being a somebody. And, now the winner of this fight, they're saying is mandatory for the winner of, obviously, Joshua Usyk. Obviously, we'll get onto that one. But to be honest,
I'm just hoping that whoever wins this, maybe somehow Wilder just negotiates his way into it, because I know you're not Wilder's biggest fan, but I'm sure you'd love him to take on one of these.
Well, he'd win, wouldn't he? I mean, I was thinking, if you were Joshua or Usyk, especially Anthony Joshua, since he won his world title back in 2016, he's had a really tough run of mandatories, in fairness to him. You wouldn't mind this mandatory. It's a bit of a touch, isn't it? Like, either way, Dubois or Bryan, like, easy night.
I mean, it's an easy sell as well, isn't it? You just sell it as the battle of the overrated bodybuilders, and then jobs are good. Right.
I'm not having that. You're out of order, mate. Anthony Joshua is a national treasure.
I'm not looking to find that treasure then, if that's what he is.
So, I mean, I suppose what we should do, we've sort of previewed it in a bizarre way. What's your prediction? I'm going with a Dubois knockout in the first 5 or 6 rounds.
As you say, obviously he's undefeated, Bryan is, but like, you look at his record and you only can pick out the one name, really, 2 at a push. Stavine's the obvious one, and that's in the latter part of Stavine's career as well. Like, you think Dubois got to win this, and maybe this is just part of building his profile back up again. I'm sure a good promoter would get him a good few fights, and then what he would do would go, look, Frank Warren would put his hands up and went, it was my mistake. I made the mistake. It was me that put him in against an semi-experienced boxer in Joe Joyce. It was too soon for him, but he's now ready for something like that. I am going to obviously back Dubois, and I think you're right. I think it will be in the first 5. I expect it to go by way of knockout as well.
I've got one last quick thought for you. I mean, I should say, because we've said nothing positive about it. The one saving grace that I do think Daniel Dubois has got, obviously, he left Mark Bowers, who was his long-term trainer, and I think that was the right call. Bowers, no disrespect, but I think there was a real lack of a game plan with the Joe Joyce fight, so that makes sense. Obviously, he had that bizarre brief link-up with Mark Tibbs, and Mark Tibbs said, not for me. Blamed the Daniel Dubois' dad being involved in the training schedule and whatever. But now he's got Shane McGuigan, and we've said it time and time again on this channel. Shane McGuigan's one of the best trainers in the UK at the moment, and that gym is absolutely bubbling. Obviously, his sister's there, so that gives him, a bit of a home comfort, arguably. So I do think if Daniel Dubois has got it in him to become a genuine force at heavyweight and beat some proper names, I think this is the best possible chance that he's got with Shane McGuigan in his corner.
Look, in all fairness to him, we know he's got the athleticism. We know he's got the knockout power. What we need to see more from him now, especially for me, from when I've watched him, we need to see a bit more movement, because when you're coming up against the bigger fighters, we need to see him being a bit more educated. Not, you know, it's not
Do
enough
you,
just to be a big guy with power in the heavyweight division anymore.
no, definitely not. I mean, do you think he has got that knockout power? Because we've obviously he's bowled over everybody who he's fought lesser names on the build up. But do you think he could be a little bit Anthony Joshua? You know, he couldn't knock Joe Joyce out, and he did land flush. Anthony Joshua was bowling everybody over, got to world level, and all of a sudden that sort of one punch knockout power sort of evaded him, really and truthfully. Do you think we could be seeing the same with Dubois there?
It's a good question, that, because obviously, you know, one thing you would say with AJ is he says himself he tried to become the perfect boxer, which kind of goes against exactly what I've just said. But what I actually do think you need to see from Dubois is at least a bit more of a boxing IQ. I don't think he needs to go as far as what AJ did. I mean, I think AJ's still got the power. He's knocked out some, you know, some of the top fighters, but with Dubois, it could possibly go that way. It really could, but as you said, I don't think we're going to find out, are we, until he goes back in with these bigger names again. And in all fairness, if we're being sort of, I suppose, sort of trying to find the positives, look, if he beats an experienced, unbeaten fighter, fair play.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I suppose it actually probably does become Daniel Dubois' biggest win. But
Yeah.
for me, instead of that being a compliment, that's more a testament to how bad a job Frank Warren's actually done with him. So I've had my
24
Frank.
as well now, as you said, he needs to start pushing on. Now's the time. You know, we can't have him out the ring for 10 months. We need him in the ring now,
Exactly.
and we need him in at least once more this year. I'd like to see him twice, but I think we'd be lucky to see him out once more.
Oh, it depends how many taxi drivers and pizza delivery drivers that Frank can get lined up for him, doesn't it?
That's it. He might even throw himself in. That's right.
I hope so. I'd love to see Frank Warren just get ironed out.
Yeah. Well, guys, I mean, look, this has been our most positive preview of a fight. Usually we give a fight a lot more of a hype, but it's been a bit of a hard sell. But guys, if you are actually looking forward to the fight, let us know. Be a little bit surprised. But more importantly, if you've enjoyed the video, as I said at the start of the video, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe. We're going to have a couple more previews coming this week, reactions as well. And hopefully we'll see you on another video. Goodbye.